Hi, today I will be completing my leading video, and it will be during a faculty meeting, and this faculty meeting will happen in 3 rotations, and at each rotation I'll be leading a meeting on how to use our new learning walks for this school year. I got with my principal and we sat down together and talked about what she'd like for me to do during my leading video and what she wanted me to present on. And she really wants the campus to get up to speed on how to perform learning walks and what they are. My campus has just recently changed our focus for our learning walks, and so I'll be able to introduce that to the faculty and have them ask questions and hopefully be able to answer any questions that they might have, and help them to feel ready and prepared, to start doing learning walks. So I hope you enjoy the video, and I'll reflect upon what happened during the meeting after these 3 segments. So thanks. Alright, you guys, welcome to our first rotation. We are going to talk about learning walks today. We have a new system in place that our lovely Heather Bennett really worked hard on. She put it all together. It's going to incorporate technology and make it really, I think, user-friendly and easy for us to do learning walks. So let's take a look at our agenda. It'll be pretty quick and sweet. We're going to do a little introduction about the learning walk, talk about how to access our new learning walks, and then answer any questions that you might have about that. So, all right. So the first thing I wanted you to do is talk to an elbow partner about the purpose of learning walks. Why do we do them? What's the point? What are they? And what are they not? Think about that. I'll give you about a minute or so to do that. All right? What's his name? Yeah, hey. What do you think? I can talk to her. Okay, I'll talk. You want to talk? Okay.
And we're not, we're evaluating teachers.
All right, so what are you guys thinking? What are learning walks? Or maybe we should start with what are they not?
They're not assessing the teacher's teaching ability observations.
They are not assessing the teacher's abilities. They're not evaluative. I heard you say, what did you say?
Yeah, I said observations, but then I thought evaluation.
Right, they are not evaluative. They are not tied to your teacher evaluation. Kathy does look at these, but they are not tied in any way to how you're evaluated. So you guys already know that, so it's awesome. So I'm just going to add some of what you're saying up there. So it's important, these are not a gotcha. They're not someone coming in your room and like, oh my gosh, did you see that Ms. Bennett did not have her learning targets, her students? No, it's not about that at all. It's really to help us to learn and grow. So what do you think or is there anything else that you think they're not, besides they're not evaluative? That covers it, right? So what are learning walks? What are they meant? What is their purpose?
A way to find out what the kids are learning, basically how they interpret what the teacher is teaching. And are they really getting what the learning target is?
Exactly, right? Are they really getting what the teacher's teaching? So it's a lot more about what are the kids. The teacher, of course, is so important, but focus on what are the kids doing. Because what the kids are doing is going to speak volumes for are they really understanding what the teacher's doing. What else do you guys think?
Well, when you do a learning walk, they're kind of taking ownership of their learning because you're asking them the questions and they're able to relay it back to who's asking the questions of what they're doing.
Exactly. And we've been, in the past years, you guys probably helped create our learning walks in the past years, and they were focused on the student learning behaviors. This year, though, we're changing it a little bit, and you guys at the beginning of the year, the teachers got together and all the specialists helped join a team, and they made literacy look for us, since that is our part of our CIP for this year, and it's a focus to get our kids reading on grade level. We're really focusing on literacy instruction, and so we thought, well, then we should have our look force focused on literacy instruction. So the teachers made them. The literacy look-fors are now different from the student learning behaviors in the past. That's what our learning walks were all about. So if you go to the next slide, Heather, you'll see our new learning walks are all electronic. The teachers went in, specialists, everybody made their own learning walks. So if you wanted to come into my room, an interventionist room, to do a learning walk to help me learn and grow, then you could scan a QR code right outside my door. Heather made all the QR codes. It's amazing. She did all that work. And it'll take you right to my learning walk look force. So just so that you would see what it looks like, so you can use your smartphone, you can use your computer if you don't have your smartphone or your iPad, and just go to Google Doc and search for look force. But if you do, it's really easy just to use your iPad from your classroom, scan the code, and this is just an example. This is first grade's literacy look for that they created, and you'll click, you select your teacher that you're, the room that you're in, and we're focused on what does the environment look for. What does it look like for promoting literacy? So you'll see there are different boxes that you can click. Now just because you click the box, or you don't click a box, doesn't mean that that's not being done in the classroom. Because this is not evaluative, and we're not spending but just a snapshot of time in your classroom, so don't take offense if you don't see all of those boxes clicked. But of course we would like to see most of these things checked off. But think about it as more than a check-off list. Like what, are there anchor charts? Yes, but are they about what they're learning about? Are they up to date? Think kind of more deep than just click, click, click. There are some boxes at the bottom for comments or questions that you had. Maybe you're wondering about something they're doing. Maybe you want to do something or apply what they're doing in their class to your classroom and you want to know more about that. This way the teacher can come back and look at these responses and reflect upon what's happening in their own classroom. Because sometimes a lot's going on and we can't see it all, and then we get a second pair of eyes to come in, and it can be pretty powerful. So there's two boxes where you can write information for the teacher.
Actually, every one of them are different. It just depends on if the grade level, some of the grade levels created student behavior look-fors and some didn't. So first grade didn't. So I just put a box there because they didn't create any student behavior look-fors, like what are the students doing. So that's why there's just a box. So then you're going to observe what the students are doing, and then you might just put a question like, do student behaviors promote a literacy focus? And you might just jot something in that box. And then you go, so every one of them looks a little different based on their look-fors.
Because we got to develop our own, so
Yes.
we have, full ownership of what, because we know best what we're looking for, what we want people to come in our room and look for. So they're different. So the intervention, of course, is going to look very different. The special ed classroom is going to look very different. The PE classroom is going to look very different. So they're all unique to that grade level. But if you just scan the QR code, it'll take you straight to whatever classroom you're in.
So are all schools in the district doing learning walks now?
Oh, I don't know. About that.
Not
That's a good
literacy.
question.
Not
We
literacy?
recreated these on our own.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's awesome. I think the whole district will go to it.
I think so.
I don't know about the
I do know that at our ECT meeting, they were talking about, our elementary curriculum meeting, they were talking about a lot of the, the learning walks going towards this digital QR code. We're kind of moving towards that. Making it where we can actually keep track of how things are going. You don't have to waste your time to go turn in the form, or give it to someone. It's just once you've clicked, you've written, and then you just hit submit. It's going to get submitted. It's like a Google survey. So then I wanted to show you, once you've created, once you've completed your learning walk, then you can go to Google Drive and type in learning walk look-fors, and it'll take you to a page, but it'll only show you your grade level. You're not going to be able to go in, if you're a special ed teacher, you're not going to be able to go in and look at other teachers' observations. It'll only be your team. So if I'm a first grade teacher, I'll be able to see all the first grade teachers' learning walks. So that way, during PLCs, when we get together and plan, we can talk about our learning walks and help each other grow, but it's not going to be public knowledge for everyone to see and track. So Heather will send out just your team's responses so that you can see when it was, what they answered, what kind of questions they had, and we can kind of keep track of it that way.
And then your name will show up right here. So you'll be able to look at what's specific to you. So there's going to be one that's resource literacy look-fors, and I will share that with y'all, with your team. Okay?
All right.
All right,
Are
let's
there
go.
any questions? So you'll just scan your code, fill it out, submit, and then you can go to Google Drive and search for the literacy look for to see your responses. If someone's come in and done one for you and you want to know what they said.
So we have to have the, I'm assuming the QR code app on our iPad or
Yes.
Yes, you'll have to
Okay.
download a
Yeah,
QR
scan is a
code,
good one.
scan code, yeah, and it's real easy. Or you can always go onto Google Doc and just type in look fors and you can find the folder.
But you're
there as
gonna
well.
see a bunch of,
There'll be a lot of folders.
you'll have to pick the one the room you're in. It's just
Right.
gonna be
Okay.
easier if you can just
To
get a
just
QR
scan
code
it.
reader.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had one on the
Yeah.
iPad before, I just took some
Or just
pictures
put it
off
on
of
your cell phone.
The kids, yeah, but it was easy, it was free.
Yeah, it's free.
But I'm not techie, so I had to ask.
Yeah.
So I think this is gonna be a really cool way for us to start learning walks. There is one thing I wanted to let you know before we're done, that Kathy has asked for us to get 2 learning walks done before we leave for Christmas break, or winter break. She also wants after that for us to do 2 a month. So that's kind of the expectation that she is wanting to put in place. So I think it'll be a great way for us to learn and grow and kind of a fun way to move into our 21st century, right?
Yeah.
Using our technology. So do you guys have any other questions?
That was my question, and how often do we need to do them? You
Yes.
answered that.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, thank you guys for participating.
Thank you.
Y'all rock.
Okay.
All right, you guys, welcome. Thank you for coming. Your second rotation. We're going to talk about learning walks today because we've changed the format a little bit and we've changed what our learning walks are looking for this year. Some of you probably helped create the learning walks in the past and they were focused on the 7 learning behaviors, but they're a little bit different now. So just to get started, I wanted to show you our agenda. We're just going to introduce what the learning walks are, how to access them, and how to use the new learning walks, and then I want to answer any questions. And Heather created all of our Google Docs for our new learning walk, so she really knows. I mean, she can really help us if you have any pressing questions. She's the pro over there. So the first thing I wanted you to think about before we jump into our new, the new way that we're going to do them is what are learning walks? What are their purpose? What are they and what are they not? So I'm going to give you a couple minutes. I want you to turn and talk to your partner next to your elbow partner about what are they and what are they not. And then we'll share out a little bit.
They're not, I got you. Right?
Let's use the title.
They are observations to give you feedback.
In a classroom. In the classroom.
In the classroom.
All right, I'm hearing some good conversations. It seems like maybe there's a little bit of a lull. So does anyone want to share out what they talked about maybe what learning walks are not? Maybe we could start with what they're not.
They're not an observation, they're not a teacher observation.
Right, they're not a teacher's observation. They are not tied at all to your evaluation with Kathy. They're really not. So they're not a gotcha. Thank you for sharing.
Not meant to go out and critique anybody, so.
Exactly.
They're not coming in to see if you're gonna be able to go to 3rd grade or not. I hear a lot of teachers say that. When people come in the room, they're coming to check to see if you're ready.
Oh, to move to
And so the
next
kids all
grade
do
level.
this when they see.
Right, so you want to kind of prep your kids.
It's
That's
not
a great thing to mention, because you don't want your kids to feel nervous or
Right.
anxious that the people are coming in to grill you. It's not about that at all. Thank you for sharing that. Anything else? Heather's gonna write those up. So it's not evaluative.
I didn't get the other ones.
She was saying that they are not a part of your observation. They're not evaluative. And then Jessica was saying that they're not, it's not the teacher coming in and telling, when you explained, Jessica, you did a good job.
The other teachers aren't coming in taking notes to see if you're ready for the next grade.
If you are the teacher?
The kids.
Oh.
Because they do, they see a teacher that may be in the grade above you, if they come in the room and then they get counted.
Okay, I'm just gonna put part of kids placement.
It's not
Right.
evaluation.
And then they get nervous, and then they don't really talk. so.
Right. So they what are you learning? And they're just like frozen.
Yeah.
So you want to kind of
To get smarter.
To explain. Yeah.
To go to, that's what they do, they get.
So what are learning walks? If they're not part of our evaluation and not part of our observation, what's the purpose? What's the point?
Quick snapshot of what's going on right at that moment.
A little snapshot. I like how you said that right at that moment. So it's not going to tell us the whole picture. So what? So how is that helpful for us? If it's just a snapshot, what can that do? How can we?
Kind of like an assessment for learning. So you're using that information to see what you should change, what you can keep going with.
Exactly. So it's just that
Good idea.
snapshot
That's a
to
good
help
one,
you
Carlos.
learn and grow, like an assessment for learning, so that you can continue to learn and grow. And since that's a huge, it's a huge push for us, especially in our district, to continual improvement. It's really what the learning walks are for. They're not supposed to be a gotcha or make you feel very nervous. Just to help us to continue learning and growing.
They're also more objective, like if you're trying to do one on your own classroom, sometimes you're a little bit more subjective. When someone else comes in, they might see a lot more things that you just take for granted and you're not aware of anymore.
Great
But
point.
they might be able to find things that you wouldn't even thought of.
Right. It's like another set of fresh eyes coming in and seeing things from a different angle. It's a great point. So in the past, our learning walks were based on the 7 student learning behaviors. We focused on 2 of them. But this year, since our CIP is focused on literacy, we thought that we should really mesh our learning walks or change them to be focused on literacy as well. So at the beginning of the year, you guys might remember, and at some of the alt meetings and leadership meetings, that you guys got together with your teams and created look-fors. And so we're going to use those look-fors to help guide our learning walks. So Heather created, she took all the things that you created on Google Doc for your look-fors and made individual learning walks for each grade level. If you're a specialist or if you're a specials teacher, you all have your learning walks based on what you created. So I think that's awesome, in my opinion, because it's more purposeful and we're looking for what you want to have, for what you want to improve in. So here's our QR code. There'll be a QR code outside of your classroom.
And they're already there.
They're already put them there. She's awesome. She's so on it. So you'll just take your smartphone or your iPad, you'll scan the QR code, and it'll take you right to that teacher's page. And it's a Google survey. And so here's just an example of first grades. They're all unique, though, because they're for what you're looking for. You'll pick the teacher that you are going to be observing once you scan your code. And then you're going to first look at the environment and how it promotes literacy. And so this is a checkbox, but we want you to think about it a little bit deeper than just checking off. Oh yeah, they have that, they have that. How is it being used? How is it promoting literacy? Do they just have anchor charts up, but they're from, you can tell they're from a long time ago, or they've never been updated or changed, or they've changed, or they're just teacher created and not really created with the students. So thinking about a little bit deeper, and not just, my fear is that it just becomes a check, 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 okay, we're done, but really thinking about how are they using these tools. And then,
Can I say something about that?
Yeah, go ahead, Heather.
So also, if some of everybody created their own, like she said, and if it says writing folder and you don't see a writing folder, ask a student. Say, can you pull out your writing folder for me? So that way, you can check it off, but they just may not have it out on their desk. So interact with this is a chance to still interact with the students and asking them, because some people said, different, that you're going to reader's response journal. So you might go up and say, hey, can you pull out your reader's response journal for me? And if the kid goes, I don't know what you're talking about, maybe go ask somebody else. But and if all of them say we don't know what you're talking about, then don't check it. But
and that can be helpful
yeah.
information for the
Right.
teacher that maybe they just have to explicitly say. Because sometimes we've said it 100 times that we have to say it a different way for them to grasp it. So then there'll be, every form looks a little different. So there'll be boxes for you to be able to write comments or questions for that teacher to kind of, maybe you saw something in their classroom that you really want to do and you want to understand more about. You could ask them that question there.
And also, one of the examples that you gave earlier is, you might say, you might see anchor charts, but you're wondering, are those anchor charts created with students? So you might just say, under questions about environment, are your anchor charts created with students?
Right.
Or whatever. Just whatever comes to your mind. But just remember, the more feedback you give, the more we learn about our own practices. So.
Right. Exactly. So at the very bottom of the screen, there'll be a submit button.
Yes.
And once you feel, you're done and you completed
everything that you want to say, you can submit it.
I'm gonna submit this one so we can see what it looks
Oh,
like, and then I'll
perfect.
see if I can delete
Yeah.
it.
So then if, you know, if Judy came into my room and did an observation, which she can do because I have a little QR code that everybody does, then I can go back to see what did she say about my teaching, so how can I reflect and improve upon what she said. So then I can search in Google Drive for literacy look for's response, and there's the responses for each grade level. And it shows you when it was, it has the answers for each column, each of the questions, and then who the teacher is. So everybody on my team, like for me it would be Dawn, we can see each other's learning walks. And so we can collaborate and we can talk about, okay, well, how can we improve that, what can we change? So for your grade level, you'll be able to see it. You're not going to be able to see other teams that are not part of your team. So it'll be confidential in that way. So you can talk about it with your team so that you can learn and grow, but it's not just going to be public knowledge for everybody. Kathy can, of course, see these, and Heather and Teresa, so that they can help you continue to learn and grow. And if you have any questions, they're here to answer them about that.
Yeah,
as
so
well.
this is what it'll look like, and you're going to get an email from me probably tomorrow, and I'm going to share each grade level or group's response, this page with you. So you might want to save it to your drive, and that way you can just go in and find it easily. When it's like when someone comes in and does a learning walk, then maybe that day during your conference you're like, I wonder how I did on that, because used to we'd get a copy, right? But we're not going to have that. You're going to have to go online and look for this. So this is what you'll see. So you'll see, I'll share the responses, like I'll share first grade with first grade tomorrow. So we're ready to start tomorrow.
Yes. So I think it'll just be a little bit easier way, hopefully, for everyone to be able to do learning walks. Kathy has asked for us to complete 2 learning walks before Christmas break. And then after Christmas break, winter break, winter holiday. She wants us to do 2 after each month, so 2 each month, 2 learning walks. Do you guys have any questions about the learning walks, or how
We
you
just
just
did
Sorry, go ahead.
learning walks next week, while we're doing benchmark.
No, you do it during your conference period usually. You just run in. They don't take 5 minutes.
No, but she's talking about the window. For
Oh,
benchmarks.
it's only gonna.
So we'll be doing
benchmarks are not
benchmarks.
Yeah, but a lot of it is just environmental, so you
Oh,
can
okay,
walk
right,
in
you
and.
can walk in and ask the student, but it shouldn't be the, I think you could find a time probably when a class is not doing a benchmark, or if that day you walk in and they are, then come the next day, because they're not gonna take.
So how does it work?
More than an hour and a half.
During my conference, I'm going to observe
Yes,
another grade.
good question. During your conference, you're gonna find.
But you have to go
grade level
during
or
reading time.
specialists. Well, you don't have to go during reading time, because the look for.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Duh. Yeah, never mind.
It doesn't have to be during the language arts time. It could be any time during their day. They're gonna walk in
Yeah.
quietly and just. At least that's what I would do, just so that they know, and then go around and talk to the kids about what they're doing, and look at the things that you ask them, like, what are your book boxes for? Do you have a read, or whatever is on their
On theirs. So you just make sure you get a scan app for either your iPad or your phone. If you, I'm sorry?
They're free.
Yeah, they're free.
Right, free to download.
So if you don't have a access to an app, you could take your laptop, I guess, and just search
Yeah,
it. But
and
the
you can just
easiest
search
thing is
for it.
outside every single door is a QR code as of today. So,
Probably do your learning walk like Erin and do it together, because when we started, you girls modeled it for us.
Oh, yeah,
So
totally.
you can easily go with a partner and just sit in there. She's my partner.
I know.
That's a good question.
do you feel
that
her
was a
pain?
great question. Yeah, and you're welcome to come into any room, and you all are gonna have.
yeah, and I'll go with you too. Teresa or I will go too.
Anybody needs help.
Yeah,
just
if
let
you
us know.
want to go with, I'll go with you.
Are there any other questions? I heard somebody.
I was just thinking it's because our conference is during the same time, so I was just noting that it would be nice if I could go into
To observe someone who
from my
is-
specials.
Yes, I agree. I think that would be a great thing to do. So I don't know if that is.
You could, if you want to do something like that, just call me and I'll come cover your class so you can go do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Biggest smile I've ever seen.
Probably from my sweater.
All right, are there any other questions? You guys are awesome. I appreciate
Hanging on your
you
necklace.
participating. Ross, thank you for staying after us.
Like, we know each other well enough to do
Yes,
that, right?
yes, we do. Okay.
Alright, you guys, this is your last rotation, and then you get to go and do all the millions of things that you need to do. So thank you for being here. We're going to talk about learning walks today, and our learning walks are going to be focused on literacy this year, since that is really our focus for our school and our CIP. And so I just wanted to get started. Let's look at the agenda real quick. Today we're going to we're going to kind of introduce what are learning walks for those of you who might be new, how to access our new learning walks that Heather's created. They're going to be now QR codes on their surveys on Google Drive. And then I want to answer any questions, and Heather's here to answer any questions that you guys might have about our new learning walks. So in the past, our learning walks have been focused on the 7 student learning behaviors. And we picked 2 of those behaviors, and we would come into the classrooms, talk to the kids, and try to get a feel for if they were engaged and how our learning targets were going. Well, this year we've changed it, and you guys created your look fors for literacy. And so we thought, well, wouldn't that be the best way for us to do our learning walks, is to have them focused on what you would like us to look for in your classroom. And so I wanted us to talk about what is the purpose of a learning walk. What are they, before we jump into the new format, and what are they not? So I'd like you to turn and talk to your elbow partner for just a minute about what are learning walks and what are they not. All right?
You know what they are. What are they not?
Learning walks are not critiques. They are not to tell you what you're doing wrong, and they're not corrections. Learning walks should be about what you see happening, what you hear happening, what is going on in your classroom. What is your focus in the classroom? What is focusing on? What are the students doing? What is the teacher doing to engage the students? That's my perception.
I agree.
All right, you guys, so would anybody like to share out either what they are or what
You
they're
agree,
not?
so it's your turn.
Something that you talked about with your partner, what they are, or what either one.
Okay. Yes, Beth, and I will share.
Awesome, thank you.
Learning walks should not be critiques of what you are or are not perceivably doing right or wrong. They should be about the students. They should be about you as an educator, what is happening in your classroom, what are students doing, what are teachers doing to engage the kids, per se, you know, to make that engagement happen, to make that discourse happen. What are we doing to facilitate what is going on in the classroom?
Exactly, so they are not part of your evaluation. They are not, you don't want to be nervous when people walk in to do a learning walk, because it is not tied at all to your evaluation. It's not critiquing you like, oh wow, did you see Miss Cantava did this in her classroom, and oh my God, it's not about that at all.
That does happen.
That does not help us learn and grow. It is not part of what our learning walks are about. It's not the purpose. So what I heard Wendy was saying with Beth, they are about going into classrooms and talking to kids and seeing what are the kids learning. Are they understanding and taking ownership of what they learn, of their learning? Is literacy instruction happening in the classroom in a powerful and purposeful way? Does anybody have anything else that they shared about learning walks, or what anything that they want to add to that? Pretty good with it. So Kathy will be able to see our learning walks, but she does not use them as an evaluation piece. It is not tied at all to that. So it's not a gotcha. Okay, so the next thing is that our new learning walks are so awesome because you guys created them. So you decided what you wanted people to come in your classroom and observe. We did it at the beginning of the year. It was a long time ago, but then we've looked at it again in our alt meetings, maybe with your team. We've talked about it again, and with our leadership team, we've talked about it. So then Heather went in and took all the things that you guys created and just put it into a survey on Google Docs. And she's created QR codes that are tied to your survey. So it'll be right outside your classroom. A QR code will be taped up. You just bring your smartphone or your iPad and scan that QR code. So you'll have to download an app for a scan app to be able to scan the QR code. It'll take you straight to that grade level that you're looking at, or the specialist that you're looking at, or specials, whatever classroom you're going. Everybody's made a look for in our school. So each one is a little bit different because you created it. You'll pick the teacher. This is just an example of first grade. You'll pick a teacher that you're going to observe. You'll go in, and it'll have the environment, and you'll look for how's it promoting literacy. So some of the things you'll be able to just see, but we encourage you to really get in and talk to the kids to see if they're understanding these different parts that you have in your classroom, and not just looking at it like just a check, check, check. They did it, okay, we're done. But really thinking about, are their anchor charts up to date? Do the kids really use their book boxes? If you talk to them, are they able to explain how they check out books or whatever? Not everybody's is the same. This is just some but theirs. But yours will have what you want us to focus on. But really get in there and talk to them. And just because you have something not clicked does not mean that you're not doing that or that your kids don't know about that. It's just a snapshot, right? It doesn't tell the whole story. But it can help us because I can think, well, I've talked about WordWall a million times. My kids are using that. Where's the disconnect? Why are they not able to explain that, or why are they not taking ownership of that? There are some boxes below for you to be able to write questions, comments. Maybe you saw something that you loved and you want to do in your classroom and you want to know more about that. You can ask questions there, whatever. Or if you have a wondering, or if you didn't see something like, I see that you have an anchor chart up. I was wondering if you created that with your students, or if it's just something that you created yourself and hung up and, to kind of have the box checked off. At the very bottom, there'll be a submit button. And once you've completed it and you've put whatever you think, it'll go to a response. So that you'll be able to see, sorry, I'm not explaining that very well. It'll go to, you can go to Google Drive and type in literacy look for responses, and all of the look fors that have been done in the different classrooms in your grade level, you'll be able to see on this response sheet. So it'll have the time, all the questions that were answered, and then what teacher it was completed on. So you'll be able to see the teachers in your grade level so that you guys can collaborate on the look fors that have been checked off during PLC or during your team planning, so you guys can grow together. This page is not going to be public knowledge, though, to other grade levels. This is just for you guys, and of course Teresa and Heather and Kathy and Cindy can see those things, but no other grade level is going to come in here and, oh my gosh.
Yeah, this is only going to be shared. So like this is first grades. So tomorrow I'll go in and I'm going to share it with the first grade teachers. Literacy Task Force probably has access to it because it's in our Literacy Task Force folder. But I mean, like Tammy, you won't be able to see Kinders, and Kinder won't be able to see 5th grade, but Tammy will be able to see all of 5th grade, so y'all can work on it together. But it's just that. So that's you're just going to go in and look for this in your
where you can go back
Google
and
Drive.
reflect upon. You're wondering, what did the teacher see, or what did the kids say? This is where you're going to go to be able to see that. Before we gave the paper form, so it was in your box and you would go look, but now it'll be all electronic for you. So by winter break, Kathy has asked for us to all try to do 2 learning walks before Christmas break. After the holidays, when we come back, she wants us to do 2 a month. So you can do this during your planning time. Heather and Teresa and myself, if I have an off period and you're having trouble, you want to see maybe your own grade level, let us know, and we'd like to try to find a way to cover for you so that you can do a learning walk that feels really purposeful for you. That will help you grow and your teammates grow. But sometimes it's helpful to go into other classrooms that are different grade levels as well. If you want to come into my classroom, I'll have an interventionist. QR code, come in and see what I'm doing and help me learn and grow. Go to all the other, whatever classrooms that you're available at that time. And it doesn't have to be during literacy. It could be at any time, because you're going to ask the kids about these literacy look fors. So it can be really whenever.
That was my question. I noticed the QR codes, but if y'all wanted to be during literacy time, I just didn't know when that class was doing literacy.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
Okay. It doesn't, because you're just gonna, for me, I would walk in and say, I'm doing literacy block, I'm sorry, is it okay? Sure, come on in. And then I just go around and kind of talk to the kids, ask them the questions that are for that grade level, and then sneak out. It shouldn't take too long, but we're hoping that it'll help us to continue to keep literacy a focus and to keep growing. And hopefully it will prepare you for your evaluation, since Kathy's going to be looking at literacy. Hopefully it can help us to rock it.
And the other thing is that some grade levels put on there like things that the teacher might be doing, like interactive read aloud. So if you go in during math time and you can check off the environmental things, you may not see an interactive read aloud. So just because it's not checked doesn't mean that that teacher's not doing an interactive read aloud. So nobody needs to worry about that, because it's going to be very difficult for everybody to go in during language arts block. Because of the times that we have. So, you might ask a student, I guess you could just ask the student, do y'all go on the carpet and sit down and read? Does your teacher read aloud to you? Yeah, we're reading it. Or what is your teacher reading to you right now? And then you could find out that way, or just, you may not see it and you may not check it, but that doesn't mean that so when you're looking at your own feedback and interactive read alouds not checked, don't go, oh my God, they're not seeing me do my read alouds.
That was my question. I didn't see where it had the spreadsheet where you can see what was checked for you and what wasn't. I just saw the open-ended.
Yeah, it's if you go to here, so here's right here, you have to click in the box.
Oh, I see.
And so now it shows me writing materials available. It's listed in a list.
Okay.
And
so the ones that weren't clicked won't be listed.
Okay.
Yeah. And I can probably fix that to where it wraps, and then it'll all show. See?
Oh, yeah.
Same here. Just fix it where it wraps, and you'll be able to see it.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have to leave questions or comments, or is that just
No, you don't have to. It's not set as necessary for you to submit. You
Right.
can submit without questions. But if you have something, then yes. But no, it's not mandatory at all. Are there any other questions? Yeah.
So how long do these take? I mean, I've never done them before, so.
usually
5
it's
minutes.
5
Okay.
minutes. Yeah. About 5 minutes. Not
Don't
too
take
long.
longer than that. Don't take
Okay.
45 minutes or anything like that. but you should have it done in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Quick. It's quick. It's a snapshot. This is going to be better, I think, than what we used to do.
I think so too. And if you have, or you're having trouble getting it done, or you're like, oh, I don't know how to get this done, I don't have time, let us know. We'll try
Yeah.
to brainstorm and figure it out, and help you get that done.
Yep.
All right, do you guys have any other questions?
Do we just use our iPad to scan the?
Yes, download.
And you can just look up scan or QR code
There's
reader.
a lot of different QR code apps, but Scan, I think.
Scan is probably the easiest one, because and it'll pop up. So.
And I told you too before holidays. Okay,
Yes.
perfect. And that's it, unless you guys have any other questions. I appreciate you coming, listening. Thank you.
Okay, after watching back the 3 video segments, it was very interesting to see myself on camera. I don't particularly enjoy watching myself on camera or listening to myself, but I think that it's a great activity because it's so helpful to look back and reflect upon how we interact with people and our mannerisms and the things that we say and our body language that we don't realize. Because if we start to notice those things and we can change them to be more captivating, to develop better listening skills, and to work on collaborating, helping build and fostering collaboration in faculty meetings, which is super important. Faculty meetings are always difficult, I think, because they're after school when teachers feel so overwhelmed. They have so many responsibilities and so many things that they need to get done. That sometimes they can feel a little bit upset when we've held them after school to do something that they may perceive as not as important as the really important work that they have to do in their classrooms with their students. So I think something that is really important as a future administrator is to focus on building strong relationships beforehand at the beginning of the year, really work on that. Develop that trust among your faculty so that when there are these kind of meetings that are after school or announced last minute, the teachers are willing to put in that extra effort and are willing to stay and listen and give you respect during that time because they believe in you and they trust you and you've really built that relationship. So I think that's something that's super important. During this meeting, since it was 3 segments, I did the same presentation 3 times, but each time it was, of course, was a little bit different because it's a different group, different dynamic, and different questions come up. So I think one thing that I did well was I stuck to our agenda. I kept us on track and focused. I introduced what we were going to be talking about. I took questions and answers, and I tried to move around as much as I could without making it where the person doing the camera could follow me. I had a turn and talk embedded and gave teachers opportunity to participate and not just be talked to and talked at, but to be a part of the conversation. I think it was helpful because the learning walks that I was discussing in the videos were created by the faculty members, so I think that they had more ownership in that, and they care more about it because of that. So that was an awesome thing that my principal did to help me with this, to help me with my video, which is not why she did it, but it did end up helping me. I will say in the second rotation there was a teacher who I noticed was on her cell phone and then on her computer, and I don't think that she was listening. And so as a leader and an administrator, I need to think about during a meeting, how can I set norms ahead of time so that those kind of things don't happen, and how to keep people accountable during a meeting or during a presentation to use their electronics and their technology appropriately, because sometimes there's an emergency that we need to take care of, because we're adults and we know that, but I think it would have been important for me to set that standard in the beginning that might have helped that teacher to stay on track and to hear the important information that I was presenting. So I saw her in the meeting, and I felt like maybe I should have gone over and stood next to her. That might have helped. Some proximity, just like we use with our students, or just making it something that we talk about at the beginning of the meeting to set that expectation so the teachers know that that's something that, I'm going to give them their respect. I want to respect them, and I want them to respect me through the use of their technology and doing it appropriately. Another thing that I was thinking about as I was watching the video is my instructional coach was there, and she's the person who actually created our learning walk. So I was glad that she was there because she was able to offer knowledge and information, and she was a helpful piece. But I will say that sometimes it was hard because I felt like I was trying to talk over her and some of the other teachers, and it's kind of a hard balance to figure out how to get people's attention who are your peers, because you're not, I don't have that same authority that maybe a principal would have when they're in front of their faculty. I don't really have that yet, so I'm trying to build that and to listen to others, but then to also be able to be that voice of wisdom or reasoning within the conversation in a kind way, but to steer us back on track. One teacher in the second rotation, wanted to try to kind of get off on the fact that they have benchmarks coming up, benchmark testing, and how are they supposed to get learning walks done if they have benchmarks. And the reality is a benchmark should only take, it's scheduled for an hour and a half, and it should only take an hour and a half, and it's only one day. It should not be the whole week. So you have to try to kind of nicely find a way to show teachers that that's not really an issue, and get it back on track. If you really do need help or you can't find time, let us know. We are here to help you. We want to help you get this done. And so I think that went well. After the faculty meeting, I sent out a survey to get some feedback about how I did. I didn't do it during the meeting because I felt that I wanted to honor their time and to get all the information I needed to discuss in the meetings done and honor their time. I would not have had enough time to give them a survey. But I sent out the survey right after, through email, through Google Doc, and got some feedback. I didn't get a lot of feedback back, but I did get some feedback that I wrote down. So the first question I asked them was the time used effectively during this meeting? And I got 99% saying yes. So there maybe have been somebody who did not feel that way, or who was upset that they had to be at this training. Maybe they felt like they already knew how to do this and it could have been sent through an email. So I got that back. Effective communication skills, I got 95%. The teachers commented that they felt like they understood how to use a learning walk, how to do the QR codes, and that they had gotten their questions answered. Encouraging collaboration, I got 99%, so that made me feel good. I tried to say throughout the meeting that our learning walks are really the purpose behind it is for us to get together during our PLCs and collaborate and talk about things that we have seen in each other's classrooms and how we can learn and grow together. And then the last question I asked was, did you feel like I used good listening skills and that your voice was heard during the meeting? And I got 100%. So hopefully, the few teachers who participated answered or spoke the truth about what they felt and didn't just fill it out. I hope that it was good feedback. But I think that it went pretty well, and of course I can always find things to improve upon, and I'm excited that I was able to videotape this so that I could see that and continue to grow, and I appreciate your time, and I hope that you enjoyed the video. Have a great day.